on the day of your install, like I said, the engineer will turn up for 7 o'clock, do a shift end, do a day end. Once all the paperwork and everything's been done in your back office, as you would normally do it, then we start taking the old equipment out, and only after that. Once that happens, the engineers will get cracking on putting your POS in, sorting out your back office, etc. How long will the site be closed? It's about 5 to 6 hours that you're expected to be closed for. The more and more the engineers do, the more and more they're likely to get quicker as the rollout goes on. But to begin with, if you work on the worst case scenario, it's going to be up to 6 hours. Then anything else will be a bonus for you. Now, when it comes to your back office, at the moment you have passwords, you have a URL, etc. That will stay the same. The only difference with your back office it will be the URL. The URL will have a completely different. The back office will have a completely different URL to get onto your Blue Yonder. So the engineers will make sure that that's there, make sure that you're happy with it, etc. How you get into it, what you do when you get in is exactly the same. Hi. Okay. Your POS passwords are going to be the same as what they are now. So when you're on the till and you have to sign in, sign out, whatever you have to do with the POS, your POS passwords will remain the same as what you have got now. So just a couple of points. Your back office, the URL will be different. Your POS passwords will be the same. You've approximately closed for about 6 hours, and yeah, that's first three things to note down. Okay, we've all signed into the SurveyMonkey thing, so just so that we can know who's attended and who haven't. If you've got any questions, please put it in the chat window. So as I was saying, this is my pumps that I'm going to be using. This is fuel POS. Okay, so with fuel POS, this is the screen that you'll be greeted with, and you've got 5 sections. You've got one section here, you've got the pumps, and if you've got more than 10 pumps, which obviously a lot of places have, they'll all be listed individually across here. You have, as normal, 2 fillings per pump. You have the transaction window, and you have icons down the right hand side, and you also have icons along the bottom. Now, please bear in mind that this is a test training system, so although it will look pretty 99% the same as what you're going to be getting, there may be a couple of things that will just be slightly different on the day. Okay, so across the top, this is the information bar. This is where there's a blue settings button on the left and a blue person with a key on the right hand side. Now, the blue settings button is what you go to go into EMIS, and we'll be going into that later. But by clicking on that, you can come into EMIS on your POS, and then you can go back to the forecourt screen by clicking on that icon. You have the Tokheim logo here, and by clicking on that, you can see that the site ID has come up in that particular place here. That will replace the cashier's name once you've signed in. You've also got the date and time. Here is where any messages or pumps out of order, you'll see this, and you'll click on it, and you can see that any operator messages, like there's a connection problem with one of the tanks, month reports, etc., need to be exported. So operator messages can be displayed by clicking on that. Okay. The next one is the moon. This needs to stay in night mode for mobile pay or any OPT payments, etc. So if you're ever asked to reboot, and it should come back into with the sun symbol here, you need to just click on it and change it, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. This is where all the service champions can go in and log on, clean the screen, take the text out from underneath the icons, etc. So let's start by opening a shift. At the bottom it says please open a shift. So let's do that. So click on the top, and here you can see that it says operator functions. So you can open the cash drawer, open the shift, clean the screen. Now if we click on clean the screen, it has a 10-second countdown, and then it reverts back to where it was. Okay. Again, like I said, you can remove the text buttons on those icons. So again, they've gone. To put them back, you just display the text in the main screen. Now, to do what we're supposed to be doing, which is opening a shift, you click on open shift, and everybody's name will be created on the new system. And like I said before, all POS passwords will remain what they are now. So all the service champion needs to do is literally find their name from the list and type in their password. Once that happens, you can see at the top on the information bar that it went green, saying that the shift had been open, and a ticket comes out the receipt printer. So we're good to go. We can carry on. We can start serving customers and authorising pumps. So let me do a authorising pump, and you can see that I've just called it there. The customer's waiting patiently, and all the service champion needs to do is release it so that they can start filling up. And I'll do another one. I know you know how this works, but for what we're going to do later, I'm just releasing a few. Now, if I should need to stop or display a transaction on a pump, I can click on the pump itself, like this one is number 5, and I can say display it, so you can see there, or I can go back to it and just stop it. Now, the reason why you might stop a transaction on a pump is it might look suspicious, or basically they're on a phone, somebody might be smoking, etc. But should you have spoken to the customer and you've sorted it out, and they want to carry on and the filling up of the vehicle, unfortunately you can't restart it from here. They'd have to start another transaction on that pump. So they would literally go to pull the nozzle out of the pump, you would authorise it, and then once they've finished and they've put the nozzle back into the pump, it stopped there. Okay, you can also stop all of the pumps by clicking on the pump icon over on the right hand side here, and you can do an emergency stop by placing all of the pumps out of action. Now, when it comes to getting all of them back on again, you need to click on this little icon here and then select the night. If you select the day, what will happen is that if you had anybody that wanted mobile pay, they would basically, it wouldn't work. They would have to wait for the service champion to authorise the pump as per normal if it was a cash or card payment. So if you have to reboot for whatever reason, or you put the pumps out of action and you need to put them back into action, make sure it goes into this option here. So let's just do a very easy transaction here. We've got pump number 1. At the top of the screen, it's asking to read the loyalty card. Well, you can read it, but if there's nothing to be discounted, it will say that it's read the card, but nothing will happen. So at this point, you can see that it's 21.57. and the subtotal's here. And if the customer's paying by card, you would hit the transfer button. This transfers it onto the PIN pad, and then you follow the instructions accordingly. Now, the most asked question is, what's this one for then? It's for an integrated card terminal. So the other most common question is, well, if we're not going to use it, why is it there? Can it not be greyed out? Can it not be removed? In time, there is the likelihood that it will be removed, but for short term, the answer is no, it will just appear like that. But if any of your cashiers were to press it, nothing would happen. It would just say read the card. So at that point, you hit void to clear the payment. And then again, if you were to go by card, you hit transfer. Like I said, I can't do it. I'll show you a video in a little while about what it all looks like, etc. If the customer is going to pay by exact money, you just click on the exact, and it takes the transaction out and says that there's no money left to pay. Okay, so that's a very simple cash transaction. Should that pump number 5 want to add those two transactions together, you can highlight them both there, and you can even highlight that one as well, so you can have all three. But should you want to get rid of this line here, all you need to do is use this icon here which says delete, and it puts it back onto the pump number 3 for you. So the reason why it's blue is because it's in the transaction window now, and we're dealing with that transaction. So if it was cash, then we would hit cash, and we have got some quick buttons here, so a £50, a £20 and a £10. So again, we can hit the 50, hit OK, and then it give you the quantity of change that you need to give back to your customer. Now, should the customer want a receipt at that point, all you need to do there is to click on where it says print, and that will then print a receipt out for your customer. And now you can see in the information bar that pump number 3 and pump number 2 and number 4, it's been a bit long since they put the hose back into the pump, and so it could be that there's a suspected drive off. It could be that your customer's just wandering around the shop looking for something to buy, looking for a sandwich, looking for a coffee, etc. Okay, so number 2, we'll bring that down, and should the customer say, oh no, I've left my money at home, I need to basically IOU it, or no means of payment, you can go into, I don't know if you saw that, you go into not paid. There's an option here for delayed payment. You click on delayed payment, and then the customer says, it says there, is the signature okay? You ask the customer to fill in all your paperwork that you would normally fill in on site, and when you get the receipt out, the receipt printer, you will have the amount, the delayed payment transaction number. You will have the amount, your name, address, phone number, and a space for the signature. And again, follow your on-site procedures, but then this is just asking you to verify that the signature is okay, and then this is what you do. You click on OK, and it's then delayed the payment. And you then get another receipt out of your receipt printer with a barcode on it as well. So you've got plenty of ways to recall that receipt should you need to. Okay. Sorry, if it goes quiet for a second or two, it's because I'm grabbing drinks. I don't want to start coughing today. Okay, so we've done those. This one, it could be that it is actually a drive off. So this one here, we can go in, we brought it down and we thought, yeah, the customer's nowhere around. So we can go in and do it as a drive off. So again, it's not paid, and then it's a drive off here. So click it as a drive off and it just disappears, and all the fuel and money are accounted for accordingly. I'm just going to authorize another one of those. Okay. So we have this 44.73. At this point, we're going to basically take the money for it, but this customer actually wants to have some other goods. So you've got, obviously you'll have a scanner, so you'll scan your items. I haven't got a scanner, so I'm doing all my article scanning through this button here. So you will have this button here on your POS, and for shop articles that are too big, don't scan, Cadbury's cream egg, whatever. So all your article buttons again will be set up for you for site for when you go live. So again, I will click on shop and I'll just sell a bottle of brandy. And as you can see here, it's asking you that question, is the customer aged 18 or over? And again, it will do that for lottery as well and for tobacco. With the lottery, it might be displayed as 16, but they do have until October to change the icon. But I haven't heard anything from any of the sites that it has been a problem. So it will be 18 or over. It will give the date, and again, if it's no, you just hit that, and if it's yes, obviously you hit that one. And at that point, we've got some fuel, we've got a shop good, and at this point we can increase the quantity of that if we wanted to. We can either go here and increase the quantity, or we can go simply over to this icon, which has now appeared, and increase it by one and another one should we need to. We can also edit the item and change the value of the product. So we can do it here, or we can do it here. So I'm going to do it there, and I'm going to change it. Let's just say it's 15. And okay, so this is where if you've got a price override for any shop goods that are damaged or that are on a short date, etc., that's how you would do it. Now there's no way that anybody can discount it down to zero. It is prevented within the back office. You can only discount it by a certain percentage. So that was another question that came up. How can we discount it down to zero? I can, because it's set up for anything and everything on this system. But on your sites, you won't be able to discount it below a certain value. Okay, if I was to edit it, I could click on this button here, and it gives me the option to change the price or change the quantity. And again, whichever one I wanted to do, if I do that, I could make it 10. It's going to be a massive hangover on Monday morning when we're all been enjoying the football on Sunday night. So yeah, we're having a big party and having lots of brandy on Sunday night. So you can see here that you've got the quantity, you've got the price, and it's subtotal here. So the customer also wants to buy some cakes, and that's also added into the transaction window. Now, if they don't want that one, that cake number 1, we can just go to it and you would touch it on the screen and then you would click on delete. It's as simple as that. Okay, so if the customer's obviously going to pay by card, you would hit transfer, and I'm just going to pay it off to Exact Cash at this point. Okay, so that's how you take a mixed transaction. That's how you can add and you can delete, you can amend the quantity and the price. etc. Okay, so at the bottom of the screen at the moment, we've got a message that's come up. Maximum cash draw limit has exceeded. Now that will be set for you, and it just means that you need to do a safe drop. So again, there's an icon here for others, and you go into expenses, and you go into safe drop. And obviously it's going to be cash, and we can do a £20. Now, should it be, should I have put in 2,000 by mistake? Yeah, it would tell me that the amount has exceeded the cash draw contents. In reverse though, if you went to put in £200 and you only put 20, it doesn't warn you at that point. So again, I'm going to go cash, and I'm going to put 200 and OK. Then it asks you for a reference. So again, it's either going to be the pod number or your initials, whichever. What you're used to, you carry on doing. And then you do your safe drop. And again, you get a printout for the receipt printer. Good afternoon, Wendy.
Hi, Tracy. Hi, guys.
Okay. So we've gone through how to do a safe drop. We've still got 2 transactions on pump number 7 and pump number 8 that have turned red because the time has been elapsed since for the warning. Now again, the warning will be set per the instructions for each and every site. Now I believe it's generally about 5 to 10 minutes, but again it can be tweaked as it needs to be. But whatever it's set at, have a look at it, and if there's a problem with it, then obviously speak to the engineers, etc. Okay, so this one here, pump number 7, I'm going to do it as a pump test. So there's your AdBlue. It's asking for the loyalty, but hey ho, it's not a transaction. So at this point we can go into not paid, and we can see there that there's a pump test. So this is where you would select it, and FuelPOS thinks that you know what you're doing, so it puts everything back into the right fuel tank. It doesn't ask you to state which tank you're putting it into. If it was to go into the wrong one, God forbid, then you would see any discrepancies show up the next day in your back office system like you would do. Okay. So that is your pump test. Like I say, you go in, you bring the transaction down, you go into not paid, and you then go into pump test, and it puts it through for you. Okay, I'm just going to authorize another one and another one there. Okay. Okay, so the 10 pumps up the top, like I've shown you before, you can stop them, and we can also do, by going into others, we can do your safe drops. We've also got, like I showed you before, this button here for shop articles. It will be done for you, but it's not difficult. I will take you through that process at the end of how to create your shop article buttons, should you ever need to do the odd one or two. So in here, this is where your shop buttons will be set for you, and you can see that I've got a few, but haven't used all of them up. Now we've got 32 here, and then when we open up another button, when we open the Costa, we've got another 32 buttons in here. So to go back, it's shop, and then you've got your icons here. Now these buttons can be used for a single item, like my Cadbury's cream egg or my bottle of brandy, but it also can be used for, like you've just seen, for Costa coffee, so that you have all the different costas there. So when you're using your article selection screen, you can press that you want that one, that one, and then you can either put them in or you can go OK. And then, frankly, I would just do the OK. So again, Costa, that one and that one, just go to OK. So we've got a selection of Costas there, and basically the customer's going to go and choose a greetings card at this point. Now, you're not able to suspend that transaction, but you can void the transaction and then start again. And to void a whole transaction rather than just a line, you go to the dustbin at the bottom left and you just hit void, and that it comes up with a warning message. Are you really sure that you want to void the whole transaction, basically? And you say yeah. So again, that button there is for deleting a single line, and this is for deleting a whole transaction. So if I go back into my shop articles, and I'm going to sell 2 coffees, and OK. Now, at this point, it's asking me to do the loyalty. So again, the service champion would ask the customer to scan their item, their Shell Go Plus. And you can see there that the message has come up in the information bar that the Shell Go Plus card has been read, and that the loyalty registration was successful, and that there's 20% off each of those drinks, and the discount is done individually, not as one grand total. And then basically, again, if the customer is paying by card, it would be transfer. It would hit transfer, and then if they were paying by cash, you would go in here, and if they were handing a £10 card, £10 note, it would hit £10 and OK. And the change is highlighted there. Now, should you have a fantastic shopping basket with loads and loads of stuff in, and you needed to go up and down the screen, you can go to that. Yes, the customer is over 18, unfortunately for me, and Cadbury's cream egg, and you could then go into fruit and veg. I'll have a tomato, a lime, an orange, grape. Click OK. You should be able to go up to the top by using your up arrow and go down, obviously using your down arrow. So again, at this point, you would ask the customer to do a scan of their Go Plus, and it says that it's been read, and it will apply the discount accordingly, and it says loyalty registration successful. Now, we recommend, and it is only a recommendation, that you do it at the end, because it just makes life a little bit easier. Should the customer then go back and say, do you know what, I'll have another Cadbury's cream egg, you can see at this point that it appears that the discount has disappeared, but it hasn't. If you just click on the eye, it'll automatically come back on. Okay, and again, if the customer's paying by card, it's here. If it's cash, it's either the cash button or the exact, whichever. And then the customer goes away quite happy. If you need to then print a receipt at that point, you click on the print button here. Okay, we still have 2 transactions at the top that haven't been paid. So I'm going to just leave those for a bit longer and go back to my scanning mode. So in my shop button here, I've also got, you've seen the Gallo one where it comes up with the 18, but I've also need to show you what the discount, if it's on promotion, for argument's sake. And I haven't got cakes, because these cakes are going to have to last a long time with all the rollout. So I've created a generic button here for promotion, and all you guys would do is literally scan the product, and I'm just clicking on them, And you can see at this point that the discount, because these are on 2 for £1, you can see, unlike the Costa, it does the discount afterwards. So if it's a loyalty one, it discounts it down per the item, but if it's a promotion, it discounts it down after it. And again, you can go up to the next line, or you can just touch the screen, whichever you feel free to do. And then if you needed to amend it, like I said before, just sorry, one moment, I'll let Chris in. If you needed to amend that item for whatever reason, you can either amend it here or amend it by clicking on the edit button here. I'm going to just increase that one, and then I'm also going to increase that one by 2. So again, because I've amended it, the discount has been automatically amended here. So the grand total is £41.90. And you can also basically pay it by card. If the customer says, actually, do you know what, I've got no means of payment, I'll come back later and pay for it. If it's the shop goods only, the likelihood is you're going to say no. But if it was fuel and it's already in the car, then you could do. But to do that would be in not paid and delayed payment. So this card, this customer, I'm going to pay it off to card, and then if the customer needs a receipt, we'll click on print. Okay, I keep banging on about this card, etc. What does it look like? We have managed to get a video together of what it would look like. So just bear with me while I change my screen. So this is what your payment terminal will look like. Okay, so transaction with a fuel card. So you can see here that there's diesel on 58.19 litres, and it comes to a grand total of £78.50. So come on then, work. It worked fine earlier, it really did. So let me just go back. And let me go back here. Just bear with me 1 second, please. Sorry about that. I even tried it out 10 minutes before we came on and it worked fine. No, I don't. Okay, so I'm going to go this one. Right, okay, let's go. Oh, come on. I don't understand why you don't want to work. Let's go. Okay, so apologies for the delay there. It was just being awkward. You can see there £78.50. This is transaction with a fuel card. Read, and it comes up on there, read card. Then it says sale, input card, sale mileage, vehicle registration number by the service champion, and you put that in. The mileage is done by the customer. It's saying that the transaction is in progress. Input the WIP PIN. That sales approved. Euroshell payment okay. So that's that one. That's transaction with the fuel card. The next one is contactless payment. I get really cross with you today. Okay, so if it's contactless payment, Mentos fruit, 79p, read the loyalty. Again, it always prompts you for that. So again, read the card on the payment terminal, input the card, saying it's connecting, it's approved, and the payment was successful. The last one on cards is this one here. This is where the customer would insert the card. So again, insert it, input the card. That's what you'll see. It's asking for the customer to input the PIN number. Again, it's connecting. It's telling you that it's been approved. You can ask the customer to remove the card, and the payment has gone through successfully. Okay. Does anybody have any questions reference what we've done so far? If you have, then please type it into the chat window. If anybody hasn't clicked onto the SurveyMonkey to register where they are from, please do that now, and then we can just carry on. So that's all to do with your card payments, etc. I will go through how to do old receipts in a few moments, Rishu. No problem at all. I won't forget. And if I do, please remind me. So I'm just going to come out there. I'm just going to go back and share my screen again with you guys. Okay. So transaction window. We've gone through pumps, how to stop them. In others, we know how to do a safe drop. In here under expenses, you've got POS transfers where you can transfer money from one till to the other buying money. You can do ad hoc cash out, third-party payments, or obviously a lottery payment. So if you were to do a lottery payment, cash, it's not 200, I wish. And then okay, reference, and okay. So again, there's the lottery pay down. Under others, you've seen under others we've gone through expenses. So they're all those ones, safe drops, etc. Also under others, we've got receipts. Now this is for drive off if it's horrendously older, you're lucky enough to get somebody come back in, again, POS transfers or corrections. So what happens when a customer comes in and they buy some bottle of brandy, over 18, yes. The cat service champion is a little bit quick to hit or caught their finger on the exact button. Okay, and they didn't mean to do that. So if they very quickly print off a receipt, they can correct it. They can pay it back into a card. They can bring that transaction back and actually bring it back to then put on a card payment. So we've got a receipt number. So this, again, we go into others. And we can go into finish transactions, and then we can go into correct transaction. We can put in the receipt number here, which we would get from the bottom of the receipt, and it always starts with a 0, but you don't have to type in 0. And I'll show you a copy of the receipt later on another slide so that you understand where the receipt number will be. So I'm going to type in this number here. I'm going to select OK, and it asks you if that's the right transaction. Well, you know it is because you just printed it off. So again, it's brought it up. Now it deals with the item correctly. It deals with the cash correctly. So at this point, there's no cash shortage or anything. It's just dealt with that quite happily. So again, this 19.95 there. If they were then going to be paying by card, you then hit transfer. and pay it off to card. But again, because I haven't got a card machine connected, I'm just going to pay it off back to that. So that's how, if somebody does hit the exact icon by accident, that's how you can recall it. Now earlier we put a couple of transactions through on a drive off, and we also did it through delayed payments. Now one of those customers has come back in and they want to pay for it. So again, we can go into not paid, and we've got two options here. We can list the drive offs. Somebody's, I think, asking me a question. We can do that with fuel too. Yes, you can, Kaylee. You can do it with fuel. So settlement delayed payments, we can list the delayed payments, and everything is there on the transaction window. And you can see here that that one 47.59 that I put through today is at the bottom of the list. So I can select it and then I can pay it off to card, or I can pay it off to cash. So I'm going to pay it off to cash, use my quick key for £50, and then okay it, so it's paid it back off. So if anybody comes in that's got fuel and they've got it in the car already, obviously, and they haven't got their money, you would go and put them on delayed payments. It's still coming up saying maximum cash draw limit exceeded. So this is how we go back in and do a safe drop. So again, others, expenses, safe drop, cash, and then I'm going to put in £100, either pod number or initial, and that's done. And again, you'll have a receipt printed out. Okay. We also had a drive off earlier. A more senior customer got back in the car, didn't know what they were doing, and just forgot all about coming into the shop to pay, having a senior moment, as it were. So again, you could go into not pay, and you can list the drive offs. Obviously you'll have it registered in your due diligence book, etc., but you can see there that 44.73 is at the top. Yeah, and basically you can select whichever one you think, or whichever one is the right one to do. Actually, it wasn't that one, so we can go back in and not paid, list drive offs. That one that I've just voided has gone back into the list. So I'm going to select the right one this time, highlight it so it turns blue, and then hit OK. I think my system was having a funny moment there. It didn't want to work. And at that point, you've got the drive off transaction number. And again, if they're paying by card, you hit transfer, follow the instructions like the video showed you. I'm just going to pay that off. Come on, play. Right. So that's a drive off. That's how you bring it back later on in the day. That's how you bring back a delayed payment, should it be required. Under others, what else have we got there? Under finished transactions, there's settlement, prepaid transaction, and there's also a refund, but you're not going to use the refund button here. So should you have a customer that needs to return a bottle of wine because it's yuck, Madeira's to hell, or you've got I don't know, a damaged Mars bar, I don't know, there's something, there's something wrong with it anyway. Again, you would scan it, but I'm going to use the return button here. So you would, at this point, you would click on that, then you would scan the item as you would normally do. But I'm going to just use that option here, and it says add the return of the shop article to the transaction. Well, yeah, that's what I want to do. So at this point, you can see that the quantity here is -1. So it's taking it off and putting it back into stock. So again, you've got a minus 75p because that's what you're going to be taking out of your POS, out of your till drawer. It should the customer have paid by card on that. They've literally just paid and they've gone to the car, opened the Cadbury's cream egg, and discover there's no middle in it. It's all chocolate. So again, at this point, if they paid by card, you would do the transfer. I'm just going to pay it off to cash. Okay. Now, should somebody come in and they're going to return a bottle of brandy, and because it's got a slight crack in the bottle lid, in the glass bit of it, so they're a bit suspicious about it. So again, at that point, if they then wanted to buy some Costa and have a Costa coffee, click OK. Again, you can ask if they wanted to scan their Shell Go Plus card. And it's starting at this point, and it's rejected because you're doing a refund at this point. So in this scenario, probably what the best thing to do would be to highlight that one and delete it, highlight that one, process the refund as normal, by cash or by card. And then if the customer then wanted to buy 2 coffees, you do that. And then again, please ask the customer to scan their app. And again, it knocks off the discount accordingly. And again, if they're paying by card, you just hit the transfer button. So I'm going to hit that. Just bear with me a minute. Apologies for that. I didn't want you to hear me choking to death. Okay, so we can also close the shift at this point if we should do, if we needed to. It's come to the end of our shift and we need to close. But there is also the opportunity to temporarily lock the shift. So, for instance, if you've gone out on the forecourt and to help a customer, you can temporarily lock the shift like that. So again, the shift is temporarily locked. Again, the transaction window, if it hasn't been, if you've not done anything on it for a period of time, whether it's 5 seconds or 5 minutes, depending on what it's set to, you'll be told that on the day of the install. Once that's been reached, the time delay, and nothing's happened, it automatically comes back to this window here and says that the shift is temporarily locked. No problem, no biggie. All you do is do exactly what you did before to open the shift. You go back up here into the top right hand corner, click on your icon, and you can unlock the shift again. Select your name from the list, and like I said before, your passwords are going to remain what they are now, and you just put in your password and click OK, and you can now carry on serving your customers. Okay, so should a customer come to you and say, how much is something, or just want to inquire, not only have you got your shop articles here, but you've also got 2 ways of finding articles. So you can do it with the barcode, so you can click on that and you would scan the item. Like I've just keyed it in and click on that button there, and it comes up with a Cadbury's cream egg. And if that's the one that you're looking for, because as we all know, Cadbury's cream egg, the actual foil around it, sometimes it's difficult to scan it. So if we've typed it in, if it's the right one, then we can click OK. If it's a option that you're looking for another article, you've also got this option here, the ABC. So you can type in, using your on-screen keyboard, you can type in the word Mars. The less you put in here, the more you're going to get out here. So then click on search, and you can see there that you've got 4 items. But if we got rid of this on-screen keyboard, you'd see more. So to get rid of the on-screen keyboard, all you do is click on this icon here, and it gets rid of it. So you can go down the list, or you can go up. You can select the one that you want, and then you can select OK. Okay, so just to recap, go into shop. Got 2 ways of searching: by the barcode, PLU number, or you can go by the description. So again, ABC, and then search. So again, anything with wine comes up. Get rid of the keyboard, on-screen keyboard. So, oh, let's have some steak and red wine pie. That sounds rather nice. And select OK. Now, can you select more than one item on the screen? No, you have to do it as an individual. No, definitely not. So you highlight the one that you want and select OK. So we've got a cream egg, a duo, and a red wine steak and pie. So again, if the customer is going to pay by cash or by card, you hit the method of payment, and I'm going to go by cash, and I'm going to go £10 and hit OK. Okay, we've got a warning message come up on the screen. Now, I understand that sometimes in a site you may get to the towards the end of the day where you need to do a shift end, and unfortunately maybe somebody forgets to do it. Maybe they're helping a customer, they're filling up the coffee machine with some more milk, etc. So I'm just going to go in and put some coffee on, and now that I've mentioned it, and the customer has already read their Shell Go Plus, so you can see that the loyalty registration has started. But that message at the top of the screen a few moments ago means that if the service champion forgets to do a shift end, it won't stop the day end happening. Basically, it will just, if this screen is there, like it is at the moment, with some fuel on it, with some coffee on it, it will just kick that transaction off the transaction window. Now, the fuel goes back onto the pump, and the 2 costas just get voided. It's just to prevent a situation where your day end doesn't happen, because we all know that we need day ends to happen to be able to do the cash reconciliation the next morning in the back office. So like I said, if the service champion is basically I don't know why that's come up. Loyalty host is offline. It's probably I've used it too much today or something. Don't know why that's happened. Really don't. Again, if the service champion is doing what, like I said, helping the customer with milk or at the coffee machine, and that's on there, it will give you a countdown, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it's set for your site. And there you can see that it's now done, the day ends. So gone are the days where no day ends are done. So always will be a day end, no matter what. As you can see, the AdBlue has been put back onto the pump, and it's asking you to do open the shift again. So you can see it, the information bar at the green, it was green, it was set, it told you that it had closed the shift. So at this point, I'm just going to go back up here, and I'm going to open my shift. I'm going to select my name, enter the passwords that you already know about, and then I'm going to bring that back down. I'm going to go to shop. I'm going to put that transaction back. So again, those two, I don't know why that happened before. It may be that it was starting to do the day end and it got confused. If it doesn't happen again, then obviously we've seen how it works, so it's not a biggie. I'll take it. I'll deal with it later. There may be something wrong with the internet here or something. I don't know. Don't know why. That's never happened to me before. So again, at that particular point, the receipt has come out. The receipt printer is telling me that the day end has happened, etc. And that the counting day was okay. And it's still thinking about that loyalty registration. It really is not happy. It'll reject it in a minute, I should imagine. Yeah, it's off. Like I say, I don't know why. I'll take it up with them. So again, at this point, it's 9:05. So again, if they're paying by card, you'd hit the transfer, but I'm just going to pay it off. Okay. I think what we'll do is we'll break for 5 minutes, come back, well, say 6 minutes, come back at 15:10, just to give us time to grab a hot drink or a cold drink, as the case may be. See you back in 6 minutes. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. Hope everyone's grabbed a drink. I'm going to show you now what happens when there's fuel price that's sent down to the tills. It's basically known as snoozing. It's not you can all fall asleep, have 40 winks at the till or anything like that. But basically you'll have an envelope that will appear and you need to accept the message on there. Now you do have a number of times that you can delay that or snooze it, which is why it's called snoozing, but at some point you will have to accept those fuel prices. So I'm going to just open the first one. So hopefully you can all see this snoozing video that's there, and it says there, except before 12:22. You've got the unleaded, diesel, unleaded again, with all the different prices, and my little assistant will fly across the screen and press the accept button. And that's how you accept the fuel prices. Okay. My second little short video, again, it's accept before, it's got the prices, you've got snooze on the left hand side and accept on the right hand side at the bottom. And again, you've got a number of times to be able to snooze that before you have no choice. It's 60 times that you can snooze it. And again, it will just keep coming up until the messages have been read and actioned. So that's how you accept it, and that's how you snooze it. So my last one. Again, this one has a fuel transaction on there on pump number 3, and we've brought it down into the transaction window. And my little assistant is very busy selling lots of products today. We've got a warning here that it's getting pretty close to the time that we have no choice. And again, he's just selling loads and loads of stuff today. So we've got a payment to cash for £40.73. And again, that you'll see that my little assistant will come up with another message in a few moments. Or maybe not, as the case may be. So where's he gone? What's he up to? It's still going along. Again, he's selling more items. Go on, get on with it. And again, that's a good example of an ice cream promotion. Like watching paint dry. Go on, get a move on. So again, we've got to that time now that we have to accept it. So we've accepted it, end of, it's just happened. So you can see that you can snooze it, you can accept it, or you can, and when it gets to the point where you've got no choice, it's accepted. Okay, so that's my snoozing over and done with for the day. If I go back and share my POS screen with you. Okay, let me bring up my pure POS. Okay, right, Okay, so because we haven't done anything on the pause for a few minutes, it's now temporarily locked the shift, and as I said before, you can come back into the top right hand corner and you can open the shift again. So unlock the shift again, select your name, put your password in that will not have changed, and carry on serving. Now, if I bring up my pump simulator, I'm going to attempt to show you a crossover. Now, what is a crossover? Basically, somebody comes in and pays for the wrong fuel. Okay, there's only 10p difference in this one. So we've got 672 or 686. But I'm actually gonna use 793 and 686 as an example to show you the difference. So you have a really nice customer that comes in and is adamant that they're on pump number. Hang on a minute, let's get it right in my head. Right, so they come in and they're adamant they're on pump number 10. They're not, they're on pump number 3, but I'm on pump 10, adamant that they are, you sure, etc., etc. So you bring the transaction down and it's 686. If you've paid it by card, that's fine, but you transfer it. If not, it's exact. Okay, I'm just going to hit the print receipt because the customer also wants a receipt. Now, that customer that was on that pump, who thought he was on that pump, has now driven off. And the right customer has now come in and said, right, I'm on pump number 10. Really? There's no transaction there. So what are we going to do? How are we going to deal with that? So basically, that's what a crossover is. So at this point, you realise that the first customer was on pump number 3 and should have paid the 793. So this customer needs to pay for their fuel. The customer on pump number 10, and he needs to pay his 686. So you'll bring that transaction down into the window and you'll put in the card or the cash for the 686 and you'll hit OK. Now there's a difference of £1.07 here at that point, and it's in, so I clicked, no, I don't want to. I clicked on that too quickly, I do apologise. Now, there's a difference of £1.07 that needs to be dealt with. That customer doesn't want to pay for more than what they should have done. Why should they? So at this point, you go into extra, and there's an option at the top, crossover. And the difference is 107, and you click OK. And that deals with it correctly in all senses. So that's how you can deal with it. It also works with cards, like I said, not just with cash. It also works with fuel cards as well. So again, if a customer comes in, pays for the wrong fuel, and again, it can be dealt with straight away. Any questions on that? Because you do need to get your head around it.
Fuel card. So how do you do with a fuel card? Because if its transaction is split, the fuel amount, it won't let you. Message will come with split payments or something.
Yeah, can't split on the fuel card.
Yeah, basically, if it was a fuel, say the customer was it was a fuel card. You just again, if it was a crossover. You would just deal with it with the card. Again, with the transfer, again, you would put in how much they're going to pay on the card. Now, when the engineers are on site next week for your installs, what I suggest is that you get maybe 2 members of staff to go in and I did it with a site in Taunton. Thornton South, we just did it £5 and £5 and a penny and £5, and it worked very well. And then you get to understand exactly how it works, but it does work exactly the same for fuel cards. There isn't any issue with it whatsoever. And again, like I said, the engineer will take you through that on the day. It's a lot harder for me to show you because I haven't got a fuel card to hand, but it does work. It works with cards, it works with credit cards, debit cards, fuel cards. Okay, and this £6.72, I'm going to put it down to a pump test. So again, I'm going to put pump test there and pay it off. So that's how you do a crossover, and we've seen the snoozing. We've seen how to correct a situation where a customer comes in and you accidentally hit the exact button here, and it should have gone to card. So that is in correction. So again, if I was to just put something like that, and yes, and exact, this is how we can bring a transaction back. Now at this point, I've run out of paper. So again, in the information bar, you've got a warning saying that there's no receipt paper left. All you do is you open it. Not that you can see me doing it. And you put the roll back in, literally that quick. It spurts out a little bit of paper and you're good to go. So at this point I can hit print. Be a little patient with it. If you're too impatient like me, it prints out too. And if you put it in the wrong way, you don't get anything printed, which is what's happened to me. So again, I'm just going to hit print. There isn't anything wrong with the printer. Being silly. Right, thank you. So it's now printed out quite successfully. Okay, so what have we got left to go through? We have gone through the pumps, we've gone through others, we've done receipts, expenses, finished transactions. This is where you can correct something from cash into card, etc. It's not going to happen from card to cash, because if you hit the transfer button and there's no card, you just have to cancel it off the card machine. We can increase an item by either scanning it again or scanning the second bag of crisps or whatever, or we can just hit the plus sign here. We have shop buttons here, and this is where you can have your Costa coffee, and you can also search for items here. We can delete a line and we can void a whole transaction. And this is also here, and they're not paid. This is where you can see all your delayed payments and your drive-offs. Now, your delayed payments stay there for, I believe it's 30 days, in which time after that they just disappear. Okay, customer, you're not going to have that. It's highlighted like the card button, but you're not going to have it. Are the printer rolls the same as they are now, or do we have to order new till rolls for the sites who have new POSs? No, they are, I believe, exactly the same as what you've got now. So yeah, you don't need to order any. I think you'll have probably a little bit of a roll in there when the POSs turn up. But no, you don't need to order any new printer rolls. Does that answer your question, Carl? Somebody else is typing a question at the moment. I won't move on. How do you deal with Deli Room or Uber Eats? So So I'm
Sorry,
assuming,
delivery payments, yeah.
sorry?
Uber Eat and delivery payment, how do you deal with them?
If I'm honest, I haven't come across that yet. I don't know if Wendy can hear me that would like to come on. But basically, if you're talking about making sandwiches, etc.
No, we do delivery, like delivery Uber Eats. How do you deal with that payment?
You'll have an icon on your shop article button that will say Uber Eats. I don't know why. When Wendy's on hold at the moment, maybe she'll pick that up towards the end of the training session. But forgive me, Fab's site. I can't answer that one at the moment, but I will make sure that I get the answer for you. Okay, sorry about that. And Kaylee's just asked, how do you repay a drive off if it's after 30 days? Okay. There was an option under others and other finished no, there wasn't. It wasn't in that way. Where did you see it, girl? You saw it somewhere. Where did you see it? Where did you see it? Right. So under others, there's one that under receipts and there's one that says drive off pay. So you can click on that, and if it's £30 that's in your book, whatever, then you could either hit card or you can hit cash. Say it's £20 initials, etc., and then it's drive off pay is there. So that's done for you. So that's, I believe, the way that you're going to be dealing with it. Okay, so what we got left to go and do? Sorry. So we've done boys, we've done transactions, we've done over 18s. Paul has asked, how do you clear a fuel card with a manual voucher payment? So, Paul, can you come off mute for a second and explain what you mean by that?
Hello there. Sometimes, the fuel cards are declined. We call Shell or All-Star, get a manual authorization and do manual voucher.
Yeah, I believe that you do exactly the same as what you were doing.
Yeah, then on the till, we clear them as a manual voucher.
Yeah, that will be set up for you.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so basically we've gone through all the icons here a couple of times. Now to go into EMIS, to go back and do one of the questions earlier on, how to reprint old receipts. Now, everybody that has a login for the till will also have a login for the EMIS. Now, EMIS you access via the blue cogwheel at the top left. And this is how you get into it. To get back to the forecourt screen, like I showed you at the beginning, you click on that and go, and again, to go back on it, you go back into there. So at this point, you click on access and you log in. So clever old me's just forgotten my login details. So I've logged in. So at the top of the screen, you've got lots of options across them. A lot of them you'll never ever need to use, but there's one here called favorites, and these will be set up for you, so you don't need to worry about certain reports, one of which is printing old receipts. So you click on favorites, and as you can see, there's one there that says print receipts. Click on that, and then you get all the receipts that have happened. You've got the 8th there, you can see the 8th, and you can see, we go right to the bottom, again, you've got the 2nd of the 6th. So again, go back to the top. Now, should this customer come in and say, I actually wanted to print off a receipt that was done at 14.20 today, it was some fuel and it was for £34.90. Right, well, okay, in this training environment, we haven't got that many transactions on on the window. But there it is there, 1420. So I can narrow down my search. I can go by the date. So it could have been on the 7th. I can also select whether it was on POS 1 or POS 2. Really doesn't really that matter much. If it was a pump number that we could narrow it down to, it could be by clicking on this option here. And I can unclick it. I was on pump number 5, the customer says. So you can click OK. And these are all the transactions now that have appeared on pump number 5. So if I go back out of there, go back into favourites, go to print receipts. And again, at 1420, there's my transaction there. But I can also narrow it down by clicking on the product, unclick all, and then just go for unleaded, and then OK. So again, there's my item here. Once I'm happy with that, all I need to do is click on the printer icon at the top, and it prints out the receipt. Now at this point, it actually does say it's a duplicate receipt because the original one has either been printed or you can't give out another original. So it gives up the amount, the time, etc. And you can narrow each of these columns down. So you can go here for the volume. You can also go number shop. You can go for whether it's product, or fuel, or shop. You can go down for the total amount of receipts. So if the customer thinks it was 381, for instance, you can untick it all, and then you can just tick the 381, and then anything with that's 381 comes up. So in the case of your environment, you're going to have lots of items. So obviously you'll need to use the search or the narrowing down functions a lot more. So that's how you print off old receipts. Does that answer your question, Rishi? Yes? Brilliant. Thank you very much for responding. And once you're finished, if you have to nip back into the POS screen because you need to serve a customer, again, you just click on that, serve the customer, Cadbury's cream egg, exact money, and then when you go back in, it doesn't forget where you were, so you can carry on. So again, if you're a busy site, one till, you just ask the customer that's asking for a duplicate receipt just to bear with you, etc. So again, it remembers where you were, and when you finish looking at this, you press the button here and it takes you back. What else is under favourites? Well, under favourites, we've also got your tank dips, extended and simple. So again, tank dips, again, you can click on one tank and print it, and that'll print a load of readings to your receipt paper, or you can do all of them, that'll print even more to your receipt paper. You can highlight just one tank and have a look at it. You can look at configuration. You can also go for tank check, and you can put a start date and an end date in there. Once you're happy with looking at tank dips extended, you can just close it down, and you can go back into favourites and maybe look at the simple. And again, at this point, you can just hit print, and it will give you a simplified printout than what you would have got with the extended. So that's your EMIS, that's your favourites, under favourites. Favourites, like I said, does your print receipts, your tank dips and extended. Okay, so it's the end of my shift now, so I need to close my shift and get on my merry way home. So at this point, again, like opening the shift again, you just go into your blue icon at the top right hand corner and you close the shift, and that is it. You do not have to do anything else. Receipt comes out the receipt printer. There is nothing for the service champion to do, and they can just put the money and the paperwork where they would normally deal with it, and then finish. Okay, you can see here that I'm logged in. It's just a normal everyday fantastic service champion is logged in, and that's that icon there. Now, should there be an icon with a man or a person with a headset on, that means that there's somebody from us TSG has dialed in to help you rectify a situation that you may have. Now, when you first go live with the system, you will be you'll be monitored very carefully. You'll have access instantly, etc. So you'll be looked after very well. But should you need to do anything, even a reboot, they will dial in and help you, talk you through it, do it for you, etc. And that will be identified with a person with a headset. So I've closed my shift. I'm ready to go home, etc. So I'm off. However, as a manager, you might need to add a few article buttons into your shop article screen. And to do that, you just log back into EMIS. Obviously, log in. I'm still logged in at the moment. So this is where you can go to shop articles. Go to shop articles. Because I'm logged in as a cashier at the moment, you can see that the cashier doesn't have the right to look at articles and article buttons. So what I would need to do is access and log out, then access and log in, and type in 956 for me. I can go into shop articles, and article buttons. So again, it's standard POS there. So once you've done this, like you've seen on the actual POS itself, there were 32 buttons, and this is what they look like. It's just finishing loading. Now, when you create any items, they'll always be created in the back office, and then you'll update as you would normally do. Nothing's changed in that way. You'll log into your back office on a different URL, but that's the only difference that will be there for you. Come on. Okay, it's like watching paint dry. So you've got all these buttons here, and as you can see, there's some still blank. But this button here is a cream egg. And if I show you the cream egg, you've got an article assigned to the button. It's got the number there. It brings up the description, and you can put an alternative text in there. You can have pictures, and you can have just the text if you want to. Again, it's up to you. So if I show you that, I'm going to create a button here, and I'm just going to I'm going to scan the item, and it's brought that item up. So you can scan it, you can put the PLU number in. It's entirely your choice. So I could put in there, call it a test bed, just so, but you have to click on the button first, so it actually does it. And once you're happy with that, you can just click on the next button that you want to do. You can also make, as you can see, I've done different colors at the background. So you can make the background slightly different, and you can also do the description as a different color as well. So you've got that choice. You'll have to obviously be uniformed across the estate of Shell, but that is what you can do. If you should choose to go down the route of creating a button that like a Costa Coffee, all you need to do here is literally click on the next space. You can see that we haven't saved it yet because it's still got the green tick in. So at this point, you're not going for a single item, you're going for a multiple item group. So you're going to click on the article group, and you're going to call it multiple article selection, and you're going to call it, it might be dry cleaning for argument's sake. Yeah, and at that point, you've got a little envelope as well as the description. And again, you can change it should you need to. Now, once you've finished putting this in here, you just double click on that button, and it opens up another 32. At this point, you can then put in the next, I don't know, the skirt or whatever, the trousers, a blazer, whatever. So at this point, you would add in the a barcode or a PLU number for that particular item. So again, apologies for using Cadbury's Cream Egg, but I'm just going to do that. And I'm just giving it an alternative text. I'm going to call it a jacket, just because I can. And then I'm going to change the text to be in black. There you go, you can see it. And then once you're happy with that, you can just click on the save button. And again, it will save it, and it will if to get back to the previous screen, just click on the bottom here where it says previous, and it takes you back. So again, you've got your dry cleaning, and you're good to go. So you can click on it, and then it opens up to the next window should you need to add in more items. Once you're happy with that, all you need to do is close that down. Otherwise, it remembers where you were. And should you need to go back in and sign on to the till, again, this is where you go to for the on-screen, for the POS. You've also got a keyboard here. So to stop you having to have a keyboard under the till, we've put this icon here that will open up an on-screen keyboard. So this is where you can type anything you need to. And then again, to get rid of it, you just close it down using that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my POS, and it's saying about please open in a shift. Okay, I'm just going to take you through a presentation, just so that we can recap. If somebody can just give me a thumbs up to say that they've got a fuel POS Shell training, that they can see it on the window, that would be great.
Yeah, we can.
Thank you. Right, so as I've already said, there was a blue figure, and that denotes that there's an operator or cashier has logged into the programming screen. Red figure, station manager, yellow figure, general manager, and one with a headset and a warning sign. Yeah, service engineers logged into the programming screen. This icon here, there's at least one outdoor payment terminal has automatically been placed out of service, fraud alarm, something like that. And we now go to the snoozing. This is the icon that is present when the fuel prices come down. So you've got that little envelope there. A download of new fuel prices has been sent to the fuel POS that need to be activated by the station. Until the activation has been done, the current fuel prices will be applied and the envelope will remain on the screen. When the new fuel prices are received by fuel POS, a message will also be displayed in the information and input window. In addition, if the host has determined that the site